less and less teams are searching for quarterbacks nowadays. Everyone seems to be finding their perfect mate. But there are some teams still in the market, but it seems like those options are getting more limited. What do you think about the Pittsburgh Steelers options? Are there any stories?
Yeah, so the Pittsburgh Steelers came into this offseason. They seemed to have just the quarterback universe open to them as they were looking for the replacement for Ben Roethlisberger. There were rumors about Russell Wilson potentially joining the Steelers. There were even talks about Aaron Rodgers and even some other veteran quarterbacks. Even some guys in the draft were considered top options for the Steelers. But as this sort of offseason has started and gone on, there's been a lot of reports that have kind of backed against all those options for the Steelers. And I'll go through a few of them right now. So we'll start with Russell Wilson. So Wilson was on Mad Dog Sports Radio talking to Chris Russo, and Wilson said this, quote, "I've been fortunate to be able to play 10 amazing years in Seattle. My hope and goal is to be back there and keep winning there. That's the vision. That's the goal. That's always been in it. Never been anything different." Okay. And then the Tom Pelissero reporting on the Seahawks, said a similar thing that the Seahawks organization was reporting, and that the Seahawks have shown no desire to trade Russell Wilson this offseason. So Russell Wilson looks like he's off the table. You shift to Aaron Rodgers. Now, this is Adam Schefter talking about Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Says the Packers are prepared to go all in for Rodgers in 2022, spending as close to the cap this year and spreading it into future years as much as possible. So Green Bay looks to be really committed and aggressively trying to get Rodgers. The other team linked to Rodgers big time has been the Denver Broncos. You and I have talked about this at length. USA Today reported that the Broncos' new head coach, Nathaniel Hackett, has told members of the team he is pushing hard to trade for the defending MVP this offseason. So right there, Wilson off the table, Rodgers off the table. So then you look towards the draft. And this is where it gets kind of, a little ugly for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh sits at number 20. Listen to these teams that need a quarterback that are before Pittsburgh. You've got Detroit. You got the Carolina Panthers. You got the Giants twice. You got the Broncos if they don't get Rodgers. You got Washington. You got the Saints. And then you got the Eagles lurking there with 3 picks before 20. They want to be a quarterback factory. So with all this going on, it looks like the quarterback options in Pittsburgh are kind of dwindling a little bit. What are your thoughts on this? What's your take on this?
Well, if I'm Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm pretty nervous right now. There's not a whole lot of options. Your longtime girlfriend just left you. She's off the market. You mutual split. You retired. But your best options, your future, it's like the door's closing so fast. Your future looks so bright. You got Russell Wilson. You got Aaron Rodgers. You could pick anyone in the draft. Malik Willis looked like a great late round pick that you could steal. Wilson decides, I want to test things out in Seattle. I think we can make it work. Rodgers, it looks like he's going anywhere but Pittsburgh, either staying Green Bay, Denver, maybe even the Titans. Who knows? One of those 3 options. And then Malik Willis has a great Senior Bowl, shoots up the draft boards. He's looking like he might go in the top 10 picks, easy, maybe number 2 to the Lions. And now you're Pittsburgh and you're like, what is left out there? The one option I'm seeing, Jimmy Garoppolo. It seems like a great fit. As we have spoken on our previous videos, Tomlin said, his words, we need a mobile quarterback. Jimmy G is pretty mobile, more so than other quarterbacks in the league. He's a pretty decently mobile guy, really good athlete. He fits the bill of a guy. He's got some experience. Veteran quarterbacks, real hot right now. So hot right now, veteran quarterbacks. So, he checks a lot of boxes. It'll make you feel better. You don't have to restart your system. And if you look at it, it may not seem like it, but Pittsburgh is a playoff team, and they have a lot of win-now pieces on the board. You got your TJ Watts. You got your Minkah Fitzpatricks. Juju Smith-Schuster, fairly solid guy. Solid tight end. Couple of decent backup quarterbacks. Or backup wide receivers. It's an enticing team. They shore up the O-line. Maybe get a little bit stronger on their cornerbacks or stuff like that. It's a pretty good team. So Jimmy G, what do you think about him going to the Steelers?
So I think it's a perfect fit, and you hit on a lot of details there. Is Pittsburgh right now is in win now mode, right? You talked about TJ Watt, you talked about the receivers. They got Najee Harris at running back. This is Tomlin's got a little bit of a hot seat right now. Remember, it's been a few years since he's won a playoff game. I think 4 or 5 at this point. So they don't want to go through a rookie quarterback development stages, right? They're in that division where you got Burrow, you got Lamar Jackson, and you got to play Baker Mayfield, which is usually an advantage, but that's still a good roster, even though Baker Mayfield brings it down. You need to have someone to come in and compete and win right now. And Garoppolo's perfect. The Pittsburgh Steelers last offseason talked about switching up their offense, running the football more, doing more bootlegs, doing more outside zones, and then faking off that action, making it easier for them to create big plays down the field using play action. They did very little of that this past season because Roethlisberger, frankly, couldn't move. Every time he tried to move, it just was a disaster. Just didn't work at all. It just left them with a very short, very inefficient passing game. Garoppolo literally came from a scheme where their entire offensive strategy is outside zone run and then play action off that and hit tight end crossing patterns. That's what they did in San Francisco, and Garoppolo could come in right away and get that done. And I think when Tomlin said mobile, I think maybe a guy like Garoppolo is what he was talking about, a guy who can move off play action and bootlegs, maybe mobile in comparison to what Ben Roethlisberger was, right? So I think that's where the Steelers are going to go. And here's the interesting thing here for the Steelers is that if they trade for Garoppolo, they'll still have enough cap room because they have a lot of cap room to maybe shore up that offensive line a little bit like you're talking about. So I think this is the situation for Pittsburgh. They go out and they get a guy like Garoppolo. They bring him into the fold. They shore up that offensive line a little bit, and they're right in the thick of things. Like you said, they made the playoffs last year, and that's with a lot of injuries. That's with Roethlisberger not being able to move. So I think if they get Garoppolo, they bring in a little bit more help with that extra cap space, and this could be a contender next season.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And to sum things up, all of your options are fading. Jimmy G seems like the perfect option. Or you take a flyer on some random quarterback in the later rounds of the draft, or you spend a ton of draft capital trading up to get the quarterback that you want. Jimmy G just seems like the perfect pick. And as more options close down, I think we're going to see Pittsburgh narrow in on their decision. The coaching carousel is kind of gone. All of the offensive, defensive coordinators have settled now. And so I think in the next coming weeks, we're going to see what Pittsburgh is really trying to do. If they don't make a move, then they're obviously probably looking towards the draft. But I wouldn't be surprised if you see Jimmy G get signed by the Pittsburgh Steelers here in the next game.